we were talking about, Josh mentioned how you said something about.
Oh, I in no way intended to come across as angry as I clearly somehow did.
It's not. It wasn't even. Yeah, there was anger.
I get excited.
I never heard you so rapid fire criticism, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I was immediately like, oh, this isn't going the way we expected this time. I don't know why, but like, you seemed angry just by how much you were throwing out there.
I thought it was great because we went from behind the scenes going, I think this is the rotation where we let it go with the sequels and we come in with some more levity and we're not angry. And then Ben, for the first time in my relationship with Ben, comes in so fucking hot, so angry. Ben was coming in channeling some like Reddit energy last week, just like, fuck.
This is the most apprehensive countdown we've ever gotten from Josh. Josh seems genuinely unhappy to do this countdown.
Well, it's getting to the point where I can't think of things off the top of my head I haven't already done. So it's like, am I just doing a regular fucking intro?
Just do a countdown.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever podcast. This week, The Last Jedi.
Josh is just throwing us to the fucking wolves this week. Jesus Christ. All right, let's count down. So welcome to Star Wars.
Oh, God.
Ben, how was your watch?
Die.
Ben, how was your watch?
I am somehow very much enjoying this movie.
You know what? I really did as well. I sat down with the same energy that I had in The Force Awakens, where it's like, all right, I'm going to put out of my mind anything this movie could have been. I'm just going to take the movie as it is. And don't get me wrong, like 3/4 of the way into it, I started to go, yeah, this is really overstaying its welcome because it's an hour and 50 minutes in and there's still like 20 minutes left. But all things considered, I had a good watch, and I'm glad you did too. Chris, how was your watch?
I too decided to just throw all pretense away, and I just kind of throughout this movie just kind of played the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme in the back of my head while I watched it, and it still sucked.
Look, okay. I'm gonna throw an allegedly on that because, like, it has problems.
That's not
but
even
it doesn't
allegedly.
Suck.
That's his opinion.
It's my opinion.
I am.
Hey, listen. I'm on record. I'm on record of enjoying this movie, even with its faults. But for this watch, it sucked.
Yeah.
This watch sucked.
That's entirely fair. But we have two people really going in having said, yeah, I had a pretty good watch.
Great.
And Chris is just like,
no.
I don't know why. I just I got to the end of it. Of course, I watched it over the course of like 2. This is how my life works.
Yeah.
And I got to the end. I was like, yeah, that was all right.
Yeah. Ben started watching it one night at 11 o'clock. I'm like, I didn't have the guts to do that. And then like is talking about it like most of the way through the day the next day. I'm like, oh, he must have fallen asleep.
You know, maybe part of this is me realizing that like I actually have been an alcoholic all along because like I haven't been drinking this week.
Chris. If you say shit like that, I'm gonna have to be on your ass about it.
No,
Seriously,
I don't think.
Is there
I don't think it's
something you need to talk about?
no,
Chris?
I don't think it's a problem yet. Anyway, so this movie.
Oh.
Oh God. I knew I should have taken that shot of vodka before we started, but I was trying to be responsible and I didn't.
Are any of us responsible, Josh?
No! If we were responsible, we wouldn't be doing this fucking podcast.
That's what I'm saying. When are any of us responsible?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Pretty decent flick this week.
God. As I was taking notes in our Discord, as I do, Josh and I apparently, totally separate of each other,
Yes.
came to the exact same epiphany at the exact same moment in our
Which is
watch
one-
throughs.
Which is one of my favorite things that happens on this podcast because it's happened more than once.
It
And
happens a surprising amount.
Which makes me feel like we really are sitting in the same room, even if we're not, because it happens a decent amount.
It's the hive mind.
It's the hive mind.
But Josh and I both came to the conclusion that you could have entirely cut Canto Bite out of this movie and had a much more interesting B plot of seeing whatever the fuck Maz was up to that
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah, because, like, she even says in that scene, oh, I could absolutely do it, but I'm busy. And it's like, no, we're not going to Canto Bite. We don't know this person. We know you. We'll go help you with whatever you're doing. And on top of that, the wonderful thing that would have added to the movie is Maz is Force sensitive, and that would be good for Finn. So, like, it would be the better movie.
But nah, we gotta go to the space casino.
I will say, while watching that scene, which still, the entire Canto Bite thing just does not work. I wouldn't even say it sucks as much as it just does not work. It just doesn't work with the rest of the film at all. And that's even worse kind of than sucking. Because if you have something that fits in the rest of your movie, even if it sucks, at least you had like a clear idea. But if it doesn't work in the context of the rest of your movie, it's way worse. That said, I did appreciate that Ryan put as many slot playing grannies in there as humanly possible, because that just, I found that realistic to having just being in a casino.
They get arrested on fucking Canto Bite because they park a shuttle like two idiots would.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Finn and Rose are way too smart.
Yeah.
To have that shit happen to them.
And the worst part is there was a guy that was like, you can't park here, and apparently they just ignored him.
Like Finn or Rose wouldn't be like, oh yeah, maybe that is like a really bad idea.
Yeah, it was it just really threw their intelligence into question when it just. Let's not talk about Canto Bite though, unless you have something really specific you want to say, either of you.
I just want to complain about DJ more, but that's nothing new.
Yeah, I really feel like not only was DJ an afterthought of a character, but ignoring DJ's existence was also the wrong way to go.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, yeah. But we've already been over this. Like, this is obviously by far the thing that drags down this movie, and
I always, including 30 seconds ago, forget that his name is DJ and not BJ for some reason. To the point where you just said DJ and I almost corrected you, and then went, "Oh no, I'm the moron."
God.
Our buddy BJ.
Our buddy BJ, best buddies with Trento Duava.
They all hang out with Hoogans.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
We need to make like a skit show of just all the fucking background characters we talk about.
Yeah. We've got
I
so
feel
many.
another bit coming on.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna put together all these bit players, and I should say TJ is not a bit player, but
DJ should be though. I mean,
you're
fucking
right.
A.
You're right. He should be.
He
But
plays
I
such
just-
a massive part in that
Yeah.
B plot, and then just is never acknowledged ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I just misheard you both as saying TJ too. I'm I'm fucking losing it with this goddamn
I
character in the name.
didn't think I heard Josh say TJ, so that might have been the mic.
Yeah, I did not say TJ.
TJ.
Fucking TJ.
Fucking TJ.
I will say, I never noticed this about this bit. We have praised the Chewbacca eating a porg
So good.
segment before. I never noticed that he, like, half-heartedly, like, after he chases away the porg and scares it away, he doesn't eat the porg. He just gives up. He doesn't eat the porg.
He's just like, well, fuck it. Now I'm depressed.
That's really what happens.
It's hilarious and also really sad because that just means that fucking porg died for no reason.
There's like 3 really solid jokes in this movie, but you have to find it in just like the smorgasbord of terrible jokes.
God,
I tell you that
the beginning of this movie. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, just I say it every time. That Chewbacca porg moment gets me every single time.
Yeah. And stupidly, still the Rey putting out her hand and Luke tickling it with the fucking fern still gets me every time.
I will say I'm slightly ashamed to admit that, but yeah, that one gets me.
I'm not even ashamed to admit that because that's just good joke structure, which is something this movie does not have.
And that's the best part is that's just Mark Hamill being Mark Hamill.
It really works. I'll also say you can tell that Rian Johnson adores Knights of the Old Republic because he just stole the Gizka infestation that's on the Ebon Hawk and just put it into like a couple of background scenes of the Porgs entirely taking over the Millennium Falcon. I was like, I saw the little nest that they make in one of the hallways. I'm like, that's just Gizka. You just stole Gizka, and I'm not upset about it.
With how much I appreciate some of the humor in this.
Hold on, someone's calling
Josh's phone ringing is my favorite.
Yeah, probably major merchandise. No.
Kathleen?
Hold on.
Hoogans?
I'm not doing this today, major merchandise. Okay, continue.
Is that my buddy, Trinto Duab?
Just fucking throw all the bits out. That's where we are now.
Where's
what happened to Hoogans? Tone poems. Okay, we can move on now.
I was in the middle. As many times as I've seen it, the intro, the very beginning of this movie, the beginning fucking Poe being on hold bit, gets worse.
Yeah, it really does.
Exponentially. Like, you think, it gets a little worse every time. It just gets fucking... There's a word I'm looking for. I'm on a podcast. I should think of words better. Orders of magnitude worse. I want to ask you to take that out, but I more want to ask you to definitely keep that in.
I'm actually writing it down as a title.
Fucking Christ.
No, yeah, that really doesn't work. I will say everything after that. I don't think the Poe undercurrent is strong, but that one's getting more and more forgivable the more I watch it.
The whole bit where he's like talking to Hux.
No, not that. That's so bad.
I was like, I'm saying it's getting terrible.
I'm talking about the Poe subplot. It gets less and less offensive the more I watch it. It's still not strong, but there is.
I think I can see what you're saying, but there's definitely like spots where it could be cleaned up.
Oh, 100%. The more I watch it, the more I might have been hard on it to a certain extent because it does have lead up to why Poe is not trusted, but it's still not done in a great way for you to understand what oh god, I forgot her name. I forgot her name. Fuck.
Nobody help Josh.
Holdo.
There you
Am
go.
I right?
Yep. I was gonna step in right when you said it.
It's Hodor, actually.
It's Hodor. It's still not done in a way that makes me like forgive Holdo because she could have told more people, but it does. It's not just out of nowhere. So it gets less and less offensive the more I watch that. So I had fun with that this time too. It really was just the Finn and Rose subplot that really drug, and the humor, obviously.
Who let Leia storm the bridge by herself?
Yeah.
Like, Leia just wakes the fuck up, and everyone's, instead of
Hey,
being
let's-
like, do you need some time to rest? They're like, hey, Poe's being an idiot again? Do you want to go stun him? Because I don't want to go stun him.
Do you want to think about that for a moment though? Do you think anybody lets Leia do anything?
No, Leia just
That's
does what
fair.
the fuck she wants.
That's actually completely fair. I now have no qualms with this.
And I will say, that's the third laugh that I have in this movie every single time. Just like the quiet moment there and the music trilling up and then her pulling out the
Yeah.
blaster and stunning him is perfect comedic timing as well. It's almost like when they're not trying to make a joke, this movie has good jokes.
Oh my god, and the fucking the kickback when he gets hit. Blasters are just overpowered in this movie alone. Like, all the rest of the movies, they're normal. Like, you get hit, you fall over. Ah.
Yeah.
This one, you go fucking flying.
What was that noise, Ben?
You get hit, you go. Ah.
I really, if we ever do script reads, I need you to make that sound every time it says blaster fires.
I'll fucking do it.
You better.
Well, no, I can't say it's just this movie, because in the movie we watched a fucking week ago,
Actually, I'm not gonna help you with this.
The Force Awakens,
Okay.
the less bad J.J. Abrams one.
Really? Yeah.
Whenever Chewie shoots something, it gets fucking launched like a football field away.
We've talked about this before,
I
and
know.
we've reminded you that the bowcaster just works that way.
Space man.
Can I bring up something I meant to bring up last week and I forgot?
Sure.
Oh,
Because
boy.
we have no structure anyway. And correct me if we've talked about this already. Is Han Solo the first character in Star Wars to die of fall damage?
Well, I thought of this before. I don't think we've actually brought it up. But, like, you're really... Well, I was about to say you're really cutting hairs if you're saying he died of fall damage.
So
But
same
Darth
thing
Maul
with
got
Mace.
cut in half.
Or Darth Maul, yeah, Darth Maul got cut in half.
Mace Windu.
may or
Mace
may not be
Windu.
dead.
Yeah,
We-
Mace Windu is the only one that has
I
to come back.
see no basis for the Mace Windu surviving conspiracy. I know it's
Yeah,
a very
no.
big conspiracy that a bunch of people believe. I have seen no hard evidence for Mace Windu other than people being like, "Oh well, he could do it."
Yeah, I don't believe the Mace one either. So it's Mace Windu and Han Solo are the only ones that die of fall damage.
And I'm actually currently reading Light of the Jedi, which is like I believe it's the first
How
book
is-
for the it's the beginning's good. The Jedi feel much more like superhero-y,
Yeah, yeah.
but like it also gets in depth about how like different Jedi perceive the Force differently and how they
That's
interact with
pretty
the
dope.
Force differently, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like the main Jedi Master you follow, her name is Chris. I can't recall exactly correctly right now, but she sees the Force as like a song,
That's
and
dope.
so they're in this situation, and essentially there's something they need to prevent from hitting the sun in this one system, but they don't know like why. And she says she's hearing something strange in the Force, like there's a note missing, and it's like really cool. And one of my favorite Jedi, his Elzar Mann is his name. The names are fucking weird. Elzar
It's
Mann.
Star Wars.
He sees the Force as like a deep, endless ocean, which
That's
I thought was like it's really cool.
I'm gonna have to read this at some point. I've been reading the High Republic comics, but only the first one's out at this point, and it was that first comic was just kind of like, okay, not a lot of lead up, but I've said this before on the podcast. I am pretty interested in this High Republic stuff, so I might have to read that.
Oh, but my point, someone does fall and die in that.
Okay, if we start including things outside of the 9 movies, though, we're gonna really get technical there in a way.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I mean, if we did this, how many stormtroopers have fallen to their deaths? And
Yeah.
right,
But
I mean, that's,
also,
yeah.
We're talking
long-
main characters
how-
with lines in the 9 movies.
But how long are we doing this podcast for?
That's true.
I mean, it's in the title.
Yeah.
There,
I will say-
there's a person. There's a character in that book named Peoples. Peeples, and
That might be the worst Star Wars name ever. That might be the worst.
It took me a while. I was like, oh, because like I said, I have like a second grade reading level, so I listen to my books as audiobooks, and the narrator, who's actually the same narrator who did the Thrawn trilogy, funny.
Sweet.
He every time he goes, and Peoples said, and I'm like, which Peoples? What group of people? Oh wait, the person named Peoples.
Is it the narrator for the OG Thrawn trilogy? See what? It's probably done by a different person. Again, I had the audiobooks for the OG Thrawn trilogy and the Young Jedi Knight series on cassette tapes, and those narrators were fantastic.
If I remember
I doubt
correctly,
it's the same people.
If I remember correctly, there is one audiobook guy that's been with them since like the push to get them on tape in the 2000s that is on a lot of projects, so it might just be that guy. Because I first heard him in the only audiobook I ever owned on tape. The only audiobook I ever owned on tape was the Rogue Planet one that was the introduction of Vergere in the prequel era, and that guy did it.
Huh.
What I did read this week, and I almost read it begrudgingly, because I did not intend to do anything Star Wars related other than The Last Jedi this week, but I wanted to know who the fuck Snoke was. So I went on the Wikipedia page and I was looking at just like some stuff on Snoke. So that led me to reading, I forget the name of it, but it's the Kylo Ren books. I read those books and I will say they were good. I read the comics, The Rise of Kylo Ren. They're good. I feel like they're a little rushed. The Knights of Ren are actually like this dark side group that existed before Kylo Ren. They're not just like, I had always assumed they were Luke's other Padawans. That is not the case. They had this leader that was like this brutal murderer guy that believed the dark side of the Force was just this it was just this entity, and you had to find a good death and a good kill, and it was weird, a little rushed, but pretty good. The creepy overtones of Snoke's relationship with Kylo, which we still don't know where that began, are creepy, overly so. And I'll put up a picture of this in the YouTube version and on Twitter later, but not only is it creepy, but it also, there's a hat he's wearing that I can't tell if it's a hat or a weave, and it's pretty wild. I can't tell if Snoke had like luscious, really terribly kept hair or a terrible hat. But no, his relationship with Kylo has some gross overtones. But it's pretty good comic series. That also, all it really tells you is Snoke was some guy that Palpatine made. That's all it does, which I guess is the current canon anyway. Which, by the way, Disney making Palpatine make a living, breathing Force user does not aid in your attempt to decanonize Palpatine laying the seed of Anakin. You're working against yourself there.
I feel like it really, I don't know, and maybe it's part of what they're doing in The Mandalorian, but I feel like it really fucks the whole how the Force works thing. If you can just make someone that has the Force.
Yeah, but I'm totally in favor of demystifying the Force or mystifying the Force in a new way. Any opportunity you get, it shouldn't have rigid rules. It gets boring if it has rigid rules.
It shouldn't have rigid rules, but I feel like the one thing you shouldn't take away from the Force is being able to manufacture it. Because then that feels like it takes away the mysticism and the mystery and the, everything. Being able to just make someone with the Force feels like it kind of robs the Force of what it is.
I suppose. It's not like if it became a thing that everybody could do, I'd have a problem with it, but it's just Palpatine, and Snoke, and I can conceive that, the line of Bane, and specifically Plagueis, was the only one who figured it out, and as long as it remains in that very, very guarded few, I don't have a problem with it.
I guess. I just, nah.
The only problem I have with it is a thing that I've always thought, and was also brought to our attention by friend of the show, Zins, who also decided to watch along with us this rotation, and I would like to thoroughly apologize to them that this rotation is such a mess to listen to while watching along.
Oh, God, yeah, this is the worst rotation to do this. I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad they're watching the movies first before the episodes come out, I think, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. That's the only way to do this so it's not confusing, because I don't know what the fuck you would think about Last Jedi just listening to this episode.
But they also brought up that if Palpatine made Anakin, then Rey and Kylo are related.
We've also talked about this.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying we have brought it up, but it's just one of those things that they've fucked up this whole scenario here, and they can't backpedal fast enough.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I have an issue with this for all the reasons I listed, and also that it's just yet another terrible plot device in a terrible movie.
Yeah.
This is totally unimportant and unrelated to everything. I have slippers now. Carry on.
Well, I'm not going to cut that out of the podcast because that's one of the most random things you've ever said on a podcast. Ben, stay focused.
Josh, focus is the enemy.
What the fuck is happening to us?
What's happening to me is I just got fucking slippers delivered to me.
Can I talk about one thing that actually really bothers me in this movie? And it really shouldn't, but it does. It's Admiral Ackbar dying with no fanfare. I really love that.
Totally off screen.
Not off screen, because you see him get pulled.
Oh yeah, he's on the bridge, but still.
Yeah.
But seemingly nobody gives a fuck about the fact that Admiral Ackbar just died.
I remember when this first came out, and there were people freaking out. Well, not like freaking out, but people like, what the fuck?
I'm pretty sure I did whisper to Ben when we were watching The Last Jedi, Admiral Ackbar just died and I'm sad, or something along those lines. Because I love Admiral Ackbar.
Like, no.
And
I was like, no, that wasn't him. Josh was like, yeah, it totally was. He was on the bridge. And I was like, no. And I got genuinely flustered.
I love Admiral Ackbar, and he was fleshed out really well in other books that no longer exist, so I was just kind of sad about that.
I loved Ackbar, but I recently finished the Thrawn trilogy, which I know I brought up I was reading on here earlier, and that gave me a whole new appreciation for that man.
He is great in the EU New Republic books. Like that first area where he was he was definitely, because I feel like Leia was the head of the New Republic Senate after Ackbar. But I think Ackbar was Mon Mothma, Ackbar, and then it doesn't matter. Ackbar as a higher echelon Senate member was great in the EU, and all I kept thinking when I saw like Ackbar in the background just go into space, I'm like, there's a lot of lost potential. Bye, Ackbar, I love you.
Yeah, I don't.
Ackbar. Why do they always axe these good characters?
If it had been done with a little more fanfare, it wouldn't have bothered me. But it was just kind of like,
when are we gonna get justice? When are they gonna just cancel what's his face's standalone show on Disney Plus, the dude from Rogue One, and give us what we deserve, our standalone Ackbar limited series?
Ackbar is Star Wars
I'm gonna be honest. As much as I love Ackbar, I feel like Cassian Andor has much more character potential than Admiral Ackbar.
I agree with
Just
him, actually.
replace Cassian Andor with Ackbar. Just have like we didn't see what he was doing.
Story as
He was
Admiral Ackbar.
He was a spy.
Chris,
you know,
I just listened to 3 books about how Admiral Ackbar hates smugglers and like the seedier underbelly of the galaxy, and you're trying to thrust him into the role of a spy.
We find out that Admiral Ackbar was like the James Bond of the Star Wars universe.
The name's Ackbar. Admiral Ackbar.
Do we know his first name, or is it just Admiral?
Guile. His first name was Admiral.
My first name was Admiral. My parents had a high bar for me, but they did have a cap.
Well, if it isn't General Admiral Ackbar.
My name is actually Admiral Ackbar Jr. My father was Admiral Ackbar Sr. My sister was Captain Ackbar.
I come from a long line of Admiral Ackbar.
Oh my god, we're doing it. You realize the psychosis this podcast has given us. We're just pitching bullshit now. We're pitching a fucking Ackbar show. We can't stop.
The Ackbar who admiraled me.
Oh my god, we really can't stop. It's like a fucking disease.
But
we
it's
can't
the
stop
best.
pitching.
I mean, it makes a ton of work for me, but it's still the best.
Okay. What
AVP,
we need
always
is,
be pitching.
What we need is whenever there's a plot against the rebellion, we need to send Ackbar in to assess whether or not there's a trap.
That's what Admiral Ackbar did before he was an admiral. He was still named Admiral Ackbar, but he wasn't an admiral yet. He was a specialist, not a spy, but like someone who goes behind enemy lines in disguise, which I don't know how much you can disguise Ackbar, so I'm sort of talking myself out of this. But he specifically went behind enemy lines in order to determine if there was a trap or not. You're absolutely right, Ben.
In D&D terms, Ackbar's the rogue going ahead to, check for traps.
Mastermind rogue.
Ackbar as a rogue just makes me smile. I'm picturing him in like a cloak.
Stabbing someone in the neck and pulling them back into the shadows.
Just whispering slowly, it was a trap, as he's just stabbing them to death. God, we gotta stop.
No, we don't. I love this. I'm so happy. This is the thing that makes me happiest on the podcast, because otherwise it's just existential dread.
Like he does that to a guard of a building they're infiltrating, and the other 2 guards are standing there like, oh no, where'd Tim go? And they just hear a disembodied voice go, he's swimming with the fishes now.
Oh, God.
Leia at Ackbar's funeral just saying,
oh,
this
God.
was Ackbar's son, Admiral Ackbar III. He will carry on the Ackbar legacy.
Oh God, I'm lightheaded. I will say I was almost very disappointed. I almost had to give the Thrawn trilogy 1 star because they wait till the very last battle to have Admiral Ackbar recognize a trap as a trap.
That's fair.
They're like, we got to attack this shipyard for this one thingy, and they're analyzing and everything, and he's like, there's no defenses. That must be a trap. And I'm like, we did it. We're here.
That sound you heard.
We don't even need a pod race. We have a trap.
Yeah, that sound you heard from me and Chris were our butts clenching for what was inevitably coming. Luke, as soon as Rey arrives and he realizes why Rey is there, goes to his house in order to change out of white robes to drubby dark gray robes, and I appreciate that emo move so much.
It's that, and really one of the other moments that gets me every fucking watch is Chewie breaking down the fucking door. And it's just the indignant Chewie, what are you doing here? Just yelling at each other.
Like, Luke's not even, it's not even a statement of, like, surprise. It's just like, what the fuck?
And also, Ben said during the Force Awakens episode, why was R2 not with him? I think if R2 was with Luke when he was on Act 2, the thing he does in the Falcon when he sneaks aboard to just look it over would be all that Luke hears the entire time that R2 is there with him, and it's just R2 repeatedly playing the Leia message over and over again, and he's like, God damn it, R2!
We get a scene where fucking Luke just, this is Sparta, kicks R2 off the fucking cliff down with the fucking X-Wing.
That's too sad even for me. I don't know why I had a guttural reaction of sadness at that. No, don't do that to my baby.
God, I fucking Admiral Ackbar staring at me in dignity. I'm sorry, Guile Ackbar.
Kyle Ackbar. Guile is such a good first name for him, even though it's a terrible one. It's a good first name for him.
Kyle Ackbar.
Kyle Ackbar.
God, I'm just gonna find all the pictures of like the most indignant like stares in Star Wars and make them my Skype picture just for Chris.
When I was a young officer, they called me Wild Guile.
Oh my god.
Chris is just gonna be like, God damn it, now Admiral Ackbar is staring at me indignantly.
I'll be so happy to never hear fucking Ackbar again. Just how many times have we said Ackbar?
Well, we could be talking about pod races.
Oh
God, you don't know a good thing until it's gone, Chris. Fucking pod racing.
Fucking pod racing. Fucking Ackbar. Fucking ball sacks.
Fuck you. I'm not doing a count, goddammit. Never again.
Never again. You got one ball sack counter. That's the only one you get.
Yeah. We're never going to get a ball sack counter again. I'm really sad about it.
You're never getting it again.
We may have peaked at the ball sack counter. That's 4, by the way, as you were counting.
I regret my entire existence.
Listen, when you bring up giant space creature ball sacks, you should be expecting this. That's 5.
I know! It's my greatest regret.
You did bring this on yourself, Josh.
It's my greatest regret in life.
Not getting me to talk about pod races once.
Shut the fuck up!
God. One of these days, Josh is just gonna walk to my house and just.
It's possible. It's not that far.
One day when fucking quarantine's over and I'm finally like, hey Josh, let's hang out. He'll be like, sure, let's fucking hang out, Ben. Pull up to his house and fucking, I'll be like crawling away by the time I escape.
Apparently Kylo Ren as a child played with those fucking dice all the time.
You mean children? Oh my god, you reminded me of a note. So, fucking, they go to goddamn Canto Bight, and they find the Master Code Breaker, and this is so nitpicky, but it bothered the shit out of me once I noticed it.
You being nitpicky? Who would have ever guessed?
Listen here, John.
I love you.
They find the Master Code Breaker, and he's at the space craps table, and he's holding these dice that are the size of fucking bricks. And I noticed it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see that every time I watch this now.
Is it the size of the? I don't remember specifically, but are they the size of the D6s I used to bring to D&D?
Bigger.
Oh yeah. I have like
he has 2 of them, and he has to like stretch his fingers to hold them.
I have 1.5-inch size D6s that I bring to D&D. I don't know why.
For when Josh wants to absolutely scare the shit out of us.
Yeah, I found them in a board game, and I use them to threaten people.
God.
I did mention I had a really good watch, and I genuinely enjoyed this movie a lot this time around, but it is stupid long.
It is.
This movie is so fucking long. 12 additional minutes has never felt like an hour. When you finish climax number 1 before climax number 2, which is the only thing I can describe it as, because this movie has 2 fucking climaxes.
Josh, I would so much love you to never describe climax number 1 and 2.
It's the truth, though.
It doesn't make it less terrifying.
When it comes down from the Snoke stuff and they're all arriving on Crate, my brain every single time, even in the movie theater, it's just like, all right, I'm done now. And it'll come back around as like the Luke stuff starts. But if I could there's things I could criticize all over the place about this movie, even though I genuinely really enjoyed this watch. But if I could, in terms of putting together a movie structure, the biggest mistake this movie makes is for some reason, like that last 45 minutes where they decide to not end it with the Snoke stuff and then bring the movie down and bring it back up with another massive conflict. It is so long. This movie is so long.
So, fucking Crate.
Yeah.
Bothers me.
Why?
I can't quite put my finger on it. But it's just like so well, first of all, fucking Finn and Rose inadvertently like absolutely fuck the Resistance.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed major ADD right now. I noticed fucking DJ the whole time they're on the Imperial base is wearing his hat backwards and only has one glove on when he's in disguise as an Imperial officer.
I never.
Or a first order officer.
He takes off the glove in order to. He takes off the glove when it gets burned, when he uses the necklace as a conductor.
But he never puts it back on.
Because it's burned.
Okay, but the hat's backwards.
The hat is backwards, you're right.
But, so, why did we have to make a planet that looks just like Hoth, that has a secret base on it just like Hoth did?
I love the aesthetics of this planet because it lends perfectly into the storytelling they're trying to tell with Luke. Because if you look the way Luke moves around, it's the only indicator of him not actually being there. Because he
doesn't kick up any of the salt.
But it is very much, and I think it can be forgiven to a certain extent because it's at the end of the movie rather than the beginning. But it is very much just like we want something Hoth-esque, and I think that's why it bothers you, because it bothers me a little bit. It's unrealized potential. It really is just unrealized potential because it was a cool idea that they didn't do much with.
What really gets me about it is, why didn't we just set this at Hoth?
Because they wanted something different, but they didn't want something different.
Exactly. It's like, we don't know what happens to Echo Base in canon after the Empire storms it. They could have just ransacked it and left, which is most likely what happened.
But
so the Resistance could have easily come back, set up a new base there. Bada bing, bada boom, you have Hoth without making discount Hoth. That looks slightly cooler.
And also, if you had gone to Hoth, it would have been way more obvious what they were doing with Luke, because you can kind of hide the crystal not showing up when Luke moves his feet around. You can't hide not, like, on a planet that has 7 to fucking 20 feet of snow at any given time, someone not making footprints. So you might be right that they literally just wanted to go back to Hoth, but the way that it shook out, it didn't work, so they made this. I like this planet, but it's like the unrealized potential of it really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that bothers me is the needless the battering ram. The battering rams bothers me so much because, like, it's so fucking unimportant. Like, there's no need to just specifically point this out and say it's Death Star tech, there's no reason for that to be in the script. If they hadn't ever said that, it would bother me. It wouldn't bother me at all. But because they specifically said it's Death Star tech rather than it's a big fucking laser and it's gonna put a hole in our door, now I have to try to figure out why it's not putting a hole through a portion of the planet, not just the fucking door.
You're really making me pull up a Wikipedia page entitled Super Laser Siege Cannon. There's Kuiper crystals in the fucking thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. It's just specifically Death Star. It's the use of the term Death Star tech that bothers me so much, because it's just like they had pretty good stakes already. The stakes were established. You realize how fucking shit of a situation they're in without them saying that. But it feels like they just say that in order to add to the stakes, and it actually subtracts from the stakes. I have a two-pronged thing. I actually wrote this note when we watched Return of the Jedi. Sometimes if I have a thought about how the movies connect, I'll go out and I'll add it to whatever movie I'm thinking of while I'm thinking of it. Every time I see the interactions in all of the other movies, it makes me appreciate that Yoda scene more. Because it is literally it's almost a Star Wars movie admitting how fucked up so much of not only the prequel stuff, but also the secrets kept from, like, Luke, the secrets of parentage kept from Luke, and the way that they entirely danced around all of this, and the way they kind of fucking gaslit Luke to a certain extent, are sort of solved in a very subtle way in that scene. And I wrote that down because they fuck it up. And they fuck it up in Rise of Skywalker. And I'll probably talk about this more next week. But Luke and Leia lied to Rey all three fucking movies.
They did?
Yeah, it's established in Rise of Skywalker that Leia and it might not have been Luke, but Leia knew who Rey was the entire time.
I feel like that really should have been explored more, but I mean, you're right. They do say that. But I feel like that raises more questions than it answers.
Also, it makes Leia repeat the sins of the people before her. When this perfectly nice scene kind of deals with it. It's just... I can't stop thinking about the fucking Luke and Leia standing there on Tatooine at the end of Rise of Skywalker when I watch this scene now. Because it reeks of the same, like, pompousness of Yoda and Obi-Wan kind of watching Luke. Now it's like, you fuckers barely helped. You gaslit a kid. Like, fuck you.
Gaslit a kid. It's a long-standing Jedi tradition.
Gaslight kids.
Oh God.
Christ. It was almost better when I wasn't allowed to look at Wikipedia.
The Crate Canyon run was inspired by Ryan's Memory of the Ice Cave tours on the original Star Tours. Apparently he just really liked that so much and was upset that it got taken out of the Star Tour that he wanted to put it in a Star Wars movie.
It's such a weird thing because those canyons are massive.
Yeah.
Like there's the shot where the Falcon's going through it and the camera pans and you can just see miles of just chasm.
Yeah. That's another one of those, like, spaceship scenes in Star Wars that happen so often where my brain just turns off when it's happening. It's like, oh yeah, fire, fire, boom, boom, dodge things.
Pew, pew, laser guns.
Yeah, really.
Also, like, someone needs to get fucking TIE fighter pilots some kind of, like, spatial awareness program. Because one of these rotations, I'm going to keep a count of how many TIE fighters just crash into shit.
You should definitely do that.
And it's going to be, like, way higher than trained pilots should be.
they have the same depth perception issues I have when I'm watching Attack of the Clones. It's just smacking into shit because they can't tell what's right in front of their faces and what's far away. Rian Johnson apparently got spammed by Twitter bots for like 4.5 days when it got announced that he was officially starting filming on The Last Jedi right after The Force Awakens came out, by Russian bots that he better not kill Admiral Hux.
What?
Apparently, he got spammed for like 4.5 days by all accounts from Russia that he better not kill Hux.
What? Why?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's convinced that somebody hired a bunch of bot creation kits to tell him not to kill Hux. And unfortunately, I think that went into his thought process when he made Hux in this movie.
What a coward.
Because there's a scene in the special features where he's kind of like just showing one of his producer just like his entire Twitter feed and all of these tweets that are basically worded near the same way. You don't see it, but that's kind of what he's showing him, and he's just flabbergasted by it.
That is so strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Director of a movie, don't you dare fucking murder this person.
Don't you dare murder my favorite fucking space
Nazi.
Yeah. You leave Space Hitler alone. Well, that cannot be the title.
This is gonna be another episode where we're sitting there for like. This is gonna be another episode where we're sitting there for like 10 minutes tomorrow after Josh compiles all the title names, and we're just like, fuck.
I only have one written down right now. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things that happens all week, because it fills me with existential dread whenever I finish the creation of the MP3 for the podcast. And I'm like, okay, here are all my title pitches. And then I have to keep Audacity open for like the rest of the day waiting for a title to be fixed, because I can't close it until I have a title, and I can't start the video until I have a title. But like, to be fair, there's a lot of good titles that come from this podcast.
Our stupid brains generate so much oddly hilarious shit. Fucking
You now pause specifically to say fucking at a higher pitch. I can hear it.
No,
you do it on purpose.
I don't do it on purpose. This is totally fucking automatic. Fucking Hux enters the throne room, sees Snoke cut in half, sees all the Praetorian guards fucked up, which I have a rant about the Praetorian guards, but we'll get there, and sees Kylo unconscious on the floor. If he got there 2 seconds faster, he would have been able to fucking draw his blaster like he was about to do, shoot Kylo, and fucking like the timeline would be so fucking different.
Well, he did get blown up. It took a bit.
He got blown up?
The whole ship got blown up. That's why it took so long for him to get to the bridge.
Yeah, but I'm saying if Kylo was unconscious for another 5 seconds.
Yeah, it does come pretty close there.
And it's just, there's a few parts in this movie where like the alternate history side of my brain is just like, but what if?
That's just these movies now.
True.
We say that at least once at some point in every episode. It's like everything could change like that. Like, I just snapped my fingers as if people are going to hear that. Like, it would be so... We would be having different movies if 1,000 factors, both in the movies and outside the movies, didn't happen. It's,
well, yeah, but I like speculating.
It's fun. It's fun. Although in this case, I don't know what we would be speculating because I don't know. I have a feeling.
No, because
Actually,
it'd be shit. Because Hux was fucking more inept than Kylo was as a fucking commander.
yeah, but then again, based on how Crate went,
True.
I think the Alliance might have never fucking made it out of there because he was at least more efficient in his plans, and he wouldn't have really been distracted by Force Ghost Mark Hamill. Actually, that could have been the worst possible scenario because if Kylo didn't throw his temper tantrum, end of movie, like end of trilogy. How you doing over there, Chris? You've been silent for a while.
I think I'm starting to look forward to the Phantom Menace, and that
Why?
fills me with
I
such
can't wait for the
fucking
Phantom
dread.
Menace.
Why?
Because I have so much fun making fun of Liam Neeson and fucking like everything else. These like I don't know, man. Maybe
Chris is just lost without Liam Neeson.
fucking look. I miss old No Shoulders. All right, I gotta fucking. I don't know. I'm a few rotations away from being able to enjoy and make fun of with reckless abandon the sequel trilogy in the same way I do with the rest of these movies.
I feel like I'm getting there finally.
I thought this was going to be the rotation, but this has just been the rotation where Ben lets out all the salt he's stored up for the first two rotations.
Yeah, but this is for some reason what he's come to the table with is not as bad as last episode. Like,
no, there's certainly a tone down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a lot more fucking.
I want to make a cut of these movies where every time someone gets hit, we just edit in different.
I mean, that's gonna be the script read. That's gonna be the script read.
Yeah.
And then when we're finally all in the same room, for an episode or a rotation or whatever, when Chris tackles you for mentioning pod racing, I will entirely get rid of the audio, and it's just.
You'll just hear like a loud thud and like mic ruffles, and then all of a sudden dead silence and just.
Oh gosh.
Oh god, Chris, no, stop! Week after. Okay, so Ben's still in the hospital.
No, never. You're not allowed to kill our son during therapy.
In the middle of Chris's assault, Ben said he should have tried spinning, and Chris was uncontrollable from that point.
In the middle of the assault.
I need you to promise me, Josh, that one day we will do this table read, because
Oh yeah, for sure.
I can't express to you how much I'm looking forward to it.
So be way down the line. Way
I know,
down the line.
but I'm already sitting here laughing my ass off about it.
But we will stop our assault on your ears. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. Thank you so much for dealing with our bullshit. Good night.
Our outro just gonna be us getting shot by blasters.
I want a cut where we replace all the like death yells with that, or we just replace the blaster noises with that.
Nah, it's gotta be when someone gets hit. They go.
Hello, it is Chris back with the recommendation again this week. I'm gonna go with an obvious one. Well, not obvious, but I'm gonna go with an easy one this week. I am going to suggest, if you've not done so already, to watch Star Wars Rebels. It is absolutely fantastic. I don't remember if it's actually on an episode or not, but I mentioned at one point that the first season is a little slow because it feels like it's it's Dave Filoni tricking a network into letting him do a show by going, no, it's totally just a children's animated show, and then like the war crimes begin after the first season, and it gets real dark, and it's just really good. Kanan's one of the best representations of what I think like a true Jedi is, in my opinion. And just everything on Rebels is great. If you're someone like I've mentioned before, my wife, who doesn't necessarily understand the appeal of being able to sit down and watch like an animated show or a cartoon, I would suggest just give it a shot. Try to look past that. It is absolutely worth the watch. And yeah, so that's my recommendation. I'll be back next week with another one.
I'm just still recovering from Dave Filoni tricking a network into thinking it's a kid's show, and then suddenly there's war crimes.
Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.